seat at the table with some men with confidence.
And welcome to Minute Confidence Sharing, where we, the men of a certain age, share our thoughts, ideas, and opinions in confidence. And today, we're joined by two members of the crew. We have Rhino and we have Terrence. So let's say hello to each one. Hello, Rhino.
What's up, everybody?
And hello, Terrence.
Greetings and salutations, people.
Hello, everyone. And we have an interesting topic for you today. So, back in time, on March 11, the World Health Organization declared COVID-19 a pandemic. Here it is, nearly 2.5 years later. And I think the question is basically, where are we? How do you feel about the pandemic? How do you behave in society right now? Do you wear a mask? Do you don't wear a mask? Are you vaccinated? Are you not vaccinated? Do you still touch people? Do you breathe in and out regularly? Do you go places? Do you stay in your house? You know, things along that line. So I'm going to post a question to the fellas. So describe to me your interaction with people. Do you still go out? Do you wear masks? Vaccination? Throw it all in there.
I mean, for me, it depends. Like when I'm at work, I'm required to wear a mask. My driver, I'm a driver, but my riders are not required to wear a mask, and I don't force them to wear a mask. Granted, if somebody comes on coughing and hacking, I get nervous. But for the most part, I don't require people to wear a mask. Now, when I'm off work, it just depends on how I feel. Now, if I know that I'm coughing and hacking, I'm going to wear a mask because I kind of feel like everyone's looking at me like, "What's wrong with you? Why are you coughing?" "I'm good, bro. It's all right." "No, it could be COVID." "No, it's just a cough. COVID didn't get rid of coughs like it got rid of the flu." But I conduct business as usual. I'm not as afraid as I was. I had a couple of stages. When I first heard of COVID, I was afraid. And then as the pandemic went on, it was like, "Come at me, bro. Are you gonna infect me or what? Or not?" Because it seemed like everybody around me was getting it and I never got it. And then, boom, I get it. But I got a mild version of it. My roommate ended up hospitalized with, major problems. But he survived. But me, I got a mild version of it. But it was still enough to put me on my butt. And now it's like, I'll wear a mask if I feel like it. If I don't feel like it, I won't. But that's been my interaction with it. Maybe someone else's experience has been different.
Well, I will definitely say I like the way that you put that this COVID thing happened in layers and waves, over time. My progression and thoughts on it were varied. Because at one point I was like, in the beginning, like early beginning, like it started, the pandemic was like declared in March. I think somewhere in that time frame, I was still not skeptical, but trying to think about this from a sadly numbers perspective, right? And I'm like, well, I mean, it's only affected X amount of people, and I don't remember what the number was, but at the time it was still kind of less than the flu. So I'm like, but the flu does more damage than this, so I'm not sure. But then that number just was like an Energizer bunny. It kept going and going and going and going. And I was like, oh, shoot. This is not the flu. This is not some fly-by-night thing. So then I started getting like really on guard, really cautious, and just I don't want to say paranoid, but like alert. Definitely paid attention and definitely masked up and did the whole hand sanitizer thing. You know, I've been working remote since before the pandemic, so thankfully that kind of happened and set me up in a way to where it wasn't as much of an issue. But couldn't imagine going into an office setting or into any place of business really to do work for 8 hours during the pandemic. God bless those first responders and medical professionals who have to do it, because your boy ain't built like that. I don't know if I could have done that. You know, now almost 2.5 years later, the guard has come down, but I'm still vigilant. You know, I'm still, for sake of not knowing, I'm masked up as much as possible. And it may sound a little silly to say it this way, but you know, I kind of have a little DTA. Don't trust anybody. I don't know who walking around out here hacking and coughing and sneezing and spreading the virus all willy-nilly just because it ain't, or I've been vaccinated. If you've been vaccinated, you can't catch it, or whatever this conspiracy stuff is. And that was another thing I'll address later on as the conversation goes, the whole conspiracy side of it. But because that's my cynical nature sometimes, for me and for my household, we try to stay as masked up as possible. And it's not even just about my cynical not trusting people. Some of it is just kind of a basic decency thing for me. If I'm not feeling well, I'm going to try and remove myself from situations to potentially make anybody else sick. I don't want to unknowingly make somebody else sick. So just to be on the safe side, it's easy to strap a mask on. If I'm going in the store, it might be a little uncomfortable for the 10-15 minutes I'm in there or whatever, but you know, it is what it is.
Okay, appreciate it. Where do I stand? It's a weird time. It's a weird time because you want to be comfortable, but you know enough about people to not be 100% comfortable.
Exactly.
Like, seems like everybody should have either experienced it or been vaccinated by now. Yeah, but a wise person, namely me, always say you got to make room for stupid. There's always stupid people out there, and you got to take into account what a stupid person might do. Stupid person might be out there with the vaccine and just giving hugs out. I mean, no, with the virus and just giving hugs out. You know, just dapping people up. So I think I'm 80% back to life as before, and I don't think it's possible to get to 100% as life as before. I don't think that's even a reality. I think that life is forever changed. Absolutely. Since the pandemic. Like, you now have hand sanitizer in your car at all times.
Yes.
If you run out, you panic. Where's my sense? Where's my sense?
Admittedly, that's become kind of a not a pet peeve, but a weird habit of mine sometimes. Like, if I see a hand sanitizer dispenser, I'm putting my hand under it to get some. I could have just used some in the car, getting out the car, going into the building. I see it. I got to try and use it.
Like, even if you don't wash your hands.
Exactly.
Like, I just washed my hands.
But there's a sanitizer thing. That's why I need some sanitizer.
Feels good.
It's weird. Yeah.
It soothes the soul.
I trust soap and water more than I trust hand sanitizer. I'll use hand sanitizer, but I have to eventually get to soap and water.
Oh yeah, for sure. It doesn't take place in soap and water for sure. I'm just saying, in my head, for whatever reason, like I said, I could have literally washed my hands and then walk out and be like, oh, there's a dispenser. Let me get some hand sanitizer. Crazy.
So one of the things I'm wondering, how close do you get to people? do you go to public events? Like, do you go to the movies? Do you go to the mall? Do you go to the beach? What do you fellas do?
I'm sorry, what was the question again? I was just a little distracted.
Okay, I asked, how do you handle people in public places? Like, do you go to the beach? Do you go to the mall? Do you go to the movies? Are you around people on a regular? Do you stay away?
Okay,
Question mark.
So I, so I was gonna say I'm easing back into public spaces. Like, you know, I've been to the movie theater. Actually, I've been to the movie theater a couple times. I've been to the mall. You know, I mean, if you walk around like Target, Walmart, grocery store, going to the mall isn't a huge difference in that regard. Going to the beach, haven't been yet, but go to the beach. But that's outdoors. I feel a little bit more comfortable doing things outdoors in pockets of people, not necessarily going to a concert like with 40, 50, 60, 80,000 people per se. But, you know, if I go to the beach and I'm in my general area and there's even 4,000 people, not all clustered together, you know, but you know how it is. You go to the beach and people are spread out. I'm okay with that. I'm not at this place of giving full-on hugs to everybody just yet, or, you know, dapping everybody up the way, you know, how we do. And I'm not there quite. So there's still some reservedness, but I'm trying to ease my way back into some semblance of normalcy.
I get that. The introvert in me won't let me do that stuff anyway. I go to work, I come home, I go to church, I come home, and that's it. I don't really get out like that. I don't, and I need to. There's a lady I've been thinking about asking out, and I need to do it soon before the opportunity escapes me. But I don't really go out. If I go to a restaurant, it's because I'm stopping by, I place my order, I get my food, and I go. I don't sit around and eat it. I really don't want to be around people like that. And it's not necessarily because of the pandemic either. I just don't want to be around people like that.
So that's a little different, but
right. But what I'm saying is, it's not the fear of the disease that's keeping me away. The only thing the disease has really kept me from going out and doing is going back to the movie theaters. I haven't been back to the movie theaters since the pandemic. Every movie that's dropped ever since, I've watched from home when it's available on whatever streaming service has made it available. I don't know. I'm just not ready to go back to the theaters yet. That movie that it was supposed to drop, that's supposed to get me into the theaters, hasn't been announced yet. I don't know. I might go once Blade drops, but don't quote me on that. Or well, it's on the record now. It's too late.
I was about to say it's too late now.
It's too late. Because I got high hopes for Blade. Blade has got to do good. So Disney has got to rock that. But outside of that, the pandemic hasn't stopped me from going where I want to go. And I'm not afraid to go to the theaters. I just don't want to.
So for extroverts, I'm pretty sure that this pandemic has been just the worst thing in the world.
Oh yeah, we're suffering.
Well, wait a minute. Extroverts.
Right. I'm saying for extroverts.
Yeah. For
this
extroverts,
pandemic probably been the worst thing in the world.
That's why I was like, Ronald.
For extroverts.
Yeah.
Introverts has been a boom, but
But
for extroverts.
for introverts, it hasn't been that bad.
Right.
It's like, Things that we've always wanted available to us are now available to us. What? I can work from home? I don't have to see you?
Yeah, man.
I can have food delivered to me, sealed, with a label on it so I know it's sealed, and you haven't been eating my fries?
I was gonna say the extrovert thing. I have a neighbor who was a bit of an extrovert and actually went through a little bit of a tough time during the pandemic because, you know, the way this individual's personality is set up, they're a bubbly, vibrant people person, you know, and not one of those over the top, like annoying people person, but just like good people. So knowing that individual, it was tough seeing them go through this, even just kind of via social media and stuff, because there was a period where even their social media interaction kind of tapered off a little bit, which was a little odd because they're always talkative and, you know, taking pictures and posting and sharing about whatever outdoorsy thing they're doing. And then the pandemic hit and all of that stopped and they kind of retreated into themselves a little bit. It's just like, you okay? And then it came out, yeah, no, I'm not. The pandemic has really been tough because I didn't know how to adjust and how to cope and how to deal with not being able to see my people and see my friends and my coworkers and my family, and you know, but you know, it's weird. There are a lot of things that happened over the course of this, and one of the things that stood out in my mind was, you know, pet adoptions kind of increased, and this individual I'm talking about was one who actually ended up getting a dog, and it was like a breath of fresh air because that companionship became something to be excited about and some way to interact. And you know, I don't know if they were talking to the dog like full-on conversations, but if nothing else, in the morning, hey, good morning, how you doing, pup, or, you know, kind of thing. And but it definitely lifted their spirits and changed said individual's impression. So
he didn't have the internet.
Yeah, but it is something different from talking to somebody online versus talking to somebody in person,
Right.
Which was what I took from our conversation. Was just that, you know, I mean, like, we're doing this now via Zoom and it's great, but it's different when the three of us are in the same space because you feel a different vibe, a different energy, you know, just from a certain like glance.
I get it.
So
because I won't count this as us hanging out until we actually all are in the same place and we're dapping each other up. Yeah, I count that as us hanging out.
See,
I think one thing that gets missed out also is that for a lot of us, we have people in our own house. So even in the pandemic, we were never truly by ourselves, right? There are some people where they're the only person that they live with, or it's just them and maybe one more person, or them and an animal, and they're getting no person-to-person interaction. So I think to keep that in mind when you think about people and how they're interacting with others. So, like, I think that has a lot to do with how we react or reacted or reacting. And that'll be a question shortly. React during this time because we're still getting that person-to-person interaction. You know, we're not as in a hurry to get to the crowds because we have our own little people around us, right? You know, we have windows into the outside world. So getting to a question, are we through the pandemic? Are we close to the end? Is this chapter 2? You know,
I don't know, man. I think we're
Raiders of the
basically
Lost Ark,
still in it. I mean, look,
Attack of the Clones. You know, like where are we?
just
Episode 5.
Just as soon as
space.
just as soon as I thought the pandemic was over. Oh no, it's the Alpha variant. Oh no, it's the Beta variant. Oh no, it's the Delta quadrant. We gotta get away from the Delta quadrant. I know that's
Every time you leave, something keeps pulling me back.
Right. It's always something. And now
That was good.
Now I am kind of concerned about the monkeypox, even though from what I'm told, how it's contracted, it's more than just somebody coughing in your vicinity. But it's like, where does it end? And then I'm driving through Seattle and I see this lady, and I'm like, oh my goodness, her complexion should not look like this. Does she have monkeypox and she's just walking around interacting with people? And it just kind of concerned me that, because there's always that one that, yeah, I got COVID and they're coughing over everything. It's like, dude, come on.
So it takes just take a shot of bleach, put it in you, clear all that up.
Oh gosh,
It clear up a lot of things like your life.
I was about to say, we are not condoning the use of bleach.
Please don't inject yourself with bleach.
As a presidential seal of approval.
Former. Let's just clarify, man. Former. Y'all silly.
Oh boy.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, I have no idea where this thing is ending. Maybe it won't end. Maybe we're in that part of the Bible where the Lamb of God is opening the seals, and this is famine coming, not famine, but pestilence coming to afflict mankind. I don't know. It's just, where does it end? I don't know.
Okay, so Tony was trying to figure out where we at in this story, and he mentioned like Raiders of the Lost Ark or Attack of the Clones or Breaking Dawn Part 1 or whatever part of the series, and I jokingly said Jason in Space because it feels like a Friday the 13th movie with all these dang variants coming out. It's like, is this story ever going to end? When will it finally be over? And it can kind of get a little depressing, but I'd like to think that we are on the back end of this. We have gone, we're in the descent. We're not quite touching down for that landing just yet, but we're close. That's kind of what I want to think anyway, because everything around us is really trying to get back to the stage of, nah, we're good. Pools are open, restaurants are open, dining indoors. You don't have to quarantine for as long. If you've been exposed to somebody, you can quarantine or not, depending on how you're feeling and things like that. It's just like, okay, well then maybe we are back. I don't know for sure. I don't, and the funny thing is, I don't know what it would take for me to personally feel like everything is fine again. I think in my head it will always be a little something, but I don't know if I'll ever go back to a place of just not wearing a mask totally ever again.
Just looking at Dr. Fauci. You were the chosen one. You're
Right?
supposed to deliver us from COVID-19, not bring us variants.
Yeah.
But I think that I don't think there's an end in sight. I think that we are close to it being a regularity. Like, there's a reason why it's called COVID-19, because this ain't the first COVID. Guess what, people? You've been taking COVID vaccines for most of your life. You just didn't realize it. It just wasn't a COVID-19 vaccine. So now, when you go to take your flu vaccine in the winter, you're going to now be taking a COVID-19 vaccine mixed with that flu vaccine. I think that's what reality now is today. Like you're gonna take some mixture of COVID-19 with all the other vaccines that you take at the end of the year, and hopefully that will prevent you from getting COVID in the future. Or if you do, it won't be that strong. You'll be able to live through it.
What else is going to be mixed into their microchips?
You get your orange juice, get your chicken noodle soup,
and your microchip, so they'll know where you are, what you're doing on the internet, what you're doing when you're not on the internet.
Oh man! See, now you done bug got the tinfoil hat. Start to sound like those people who believe that
through the looking glass.
It was through 5G.
For the record, I never believed any of that because I'm like, look, everyone has a tracker already. It's called a cell phone. They know what you're doing, where you are. They already got that information. Trust me.
Pretty much.
Like I did the 23andMe, and people were like, "Oh, you just gave the government all your information." I was like, "Dude, I was in the Marine Corps for 4 years.
They got
8
it.
years if you count my inactive time. They know exactly where I am.
They got me.
They can find me."
Like, you have a social security number, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Who gave you the social security number?
They were tracking me since day one. Step out of the womb and I was already being tracked.
Like,
Where
really
to
though.
run,
Oh,
nowhere to hide.
Like, I want my privacy, but you have a Facebook page and an Instagram?
Right. And a Twitter and a Twitch.
Like, I know where you are and I don't even know you.
And for the record, posting that you went on vacation at Sandals last weekend didn't help. Just saying.
It's that song I was hearing on TikTok. She knows. Of course she knows. They know. They know. They can find you if they really want to. Trust me.
Like, the next time you go on vacation, I need you to buy some fresh milk and cereal. That it was rank and it was stale the last time I was at your house. I need you to keep yourself supplied. But I feel like I'm just going off on a tangent. I think it's time to wrap it up. So, fellas, y'all got anything else to add before we close? All right.
So I do have one thing to say.
Go for it.
Rest in peace, Teddy Ray. You were a great up-and-coming comedian. I love your natural humor. Rest in peace, my guy.
Okay. All right. Well, after that, I'll throw it to Terrence for the close.
Well, I always want to invite our listeners to drop a comment, give us a like, let us know how you all were holding up and where you're at with this whole pandemic thing. Not necessarily asking for vaccination statuses or anything like that, but just kind of how you're doing, how you're feeling, because sometimes those mental health check-ins are helpful. Other than that, as always, thank y'all for listening. Like, share, subscribe. God bless you. Good night. Deuces.
Peace.
Later, everybody.